नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter number 1, verse number 4. It's continuation of Parikshit Maharaj's question. He has not started his question, he is making the basis to ask the question. He is first praising him. So we read in the earlier verses that how he said that he has explained in detail about the dynasty of sun and moon, spoken about Yadu. Now please explain about Krishna in more detail. So Tanino Vada Vistarat. And in this sloka he gives the reason why he should explain this in more detail. Nivritta tarsairupagiyamanat bhavasdat chotra manobhiramat Prauttamah shloka gunanuvadat puman virajyeta vina pashubhnat. Except for a person who is a killer of animals, but who else would not take interest in hearing about Krishna, who is sung Nivritta Tarsairupavi Anumanat, whose activities, glories are sung by those who are free from all material desires, means liberated people. Bhavasudhat, which is the medicine for the bondage to the material world, means those people who are bound by material birth and death, cycle of birth and death, they also take interest, or it is for them also. And Shotra Manobhiramat, and they are giving pleasure to the ears and the mind. So what is it? Uttama Shloka Gunanuvada. So Gunanuvad, or repetition or description of the qualities of Uttama Shloka Krishna. So he is making a rhetorical question that who would not take interest in the pastimes of Krishna, whether somebody is a liberated person, somebody is bound to the material world, or somebody is desiring liberation. So all three types of people benefit from it. So in other words, he says that everybody should listen to them, because in the assembly there are different types of people who are sitting, and some may say, why is he now bringing it up? He has spoken about the different avatars, he is also mentioned about Krishna, so why wants to hear more? So therefore he said that it is beneficial for everybody, therefore he should speak about it. So Sri Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur comments. First he gives respect to Sridhar Swami and Sanatana Goswami. Sridhar Swami bhi Srimad Prabhu bhischa Sanatanaihi Rajitvat Tyaktam Uchishtam Bhujishyo Aham Upadane. So he says that Sridhar Swami and Sanatana Goswami, they have already written commentaries on this, but there are certain parts which they did not explain, thinking that these are just simple things and do not need any explanation. So what has been left by them, like the leftovers of the food, so I will chew on them, I accept them, and I will speak on that basically. So in other words, he what is indicated, that what they have written, I will not touch that part. So something which he feels that should be said more, then he will speak on that. अस्मदादयस्तु संसार रोगग्रस्ता परम भाग्य लब्धै भिषक शिरोमणिभिस्तत्र भवद्भिर्दीयमानात् कृष्णलीलामृत महाौषधात् कथं विरता भवितुमर्हन्ति इति अत्याह निवृत्ता. So he says that people like us who are suffering from the material disease, samsara roga, the bondage to the material world, bondage to birth and death, with great fortune we have attained the best of all doctors. So Bhishak Shiromani, Bhishak means doctor, Shiromani means the topmost. So we have attained the topmost doctor by good fortune. So therefore you are giving us the best medicine, and that is in the form of Krishna Lilamrita, the nectar of Krishna's pastimes. So how can we say no to that? So to say this he indicates. In other words, what he's saying is that you spoke about Krishna and we want it more because we are really sick people and we need bigger dose to become free from our sickness. So bhavas, so nivritta tarse rupagiye mana, that is the one. First he says bhavaus dhat, sansar vyadher aushad rupat. So he says that this pastimes of Krishna, hearing pastimes of Krishna is the medicine for bhavroga. So bhava means this birth and death cycle is called bhava. So therefore he says that this is like a medicine. And nivritta tarsair yadeva nishevya vigata trishna vyadhika. And that is not that it is only meant for them. It is such a medicine that it is not only medicine but it is also like a tonic. So even if you are not sick, you can still take it. So there are certain medicines in Ayurveda which can be taken for a disease, and if you are not sick, you can still take it regularly. And they are like tonic, like Amla, Chyawanprash, Triphala. So these are all very good things which anyone can take, whether you are sick or not. So he says even those people who are free from any desire, nivritta means become attached to the results, and then that gives you further desire, further action, and this continues. So those who are free from this disease, they also take interest in Krishna's pastimes. Trishna eva sansara, he says that this Trishna, this desire, this itself is the samsara. Because if you don't have Trishna, then where is the samsara? So those who are free from this, tasman muktahi jnanadibhyopi upadhikyena giyamanat. So it is also sung very much by the jnanis who are free from all desires. भो भो वयमिव एतन् निषेव्य एव निरामया भवतः इति उच्चैरुपदिश्यमानात्. So upgiyaman means to sing loudly. So they are loudly saying that, oh, like us, you should also hear this Krishna's stories, Niramaya Bhavata. Why? then you will become free from disease like us. So, iti uchchair updishyamanat. So they instruct like this in a loud voice. These days we have loudspeakers. So upgiyamana, right? Somebody is giving a lecture and there is a loudspeaker. That is upgiyamana. So up is in the sense of adhikya. अन्य औषधवन नास्य कट्वादि रसत्वमिति आह श्रोत्र मन सुख प्रदात. And generally medicines are not very palatable. They don't have good taste. So he says that this medicine is not like that. It is very relishable, delectable, palatable. So it is rasa, pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam, right? So, shrotra manobhiramat. It gives happiness, pleasure to the ears when you hear it, and when it goes inside, it also makes the mind happy. Right? Krishna is called Manamohana. It's enchanting to the mind. Shrotra manobhyam eva etad asudham piyate iti bhava. So the meaning is that this ausadhi, this medicine, is to be drunk through the ears and to the mind. So it means generally you consume medicine through the mouth. But these days you also take intravenous, right? IV. So some medicine you can also take by smelling, right? There are some people who also do some kind of intoxication by smelling, right? What is it called? Surati?
I've seen them doing it brown in color.
It's called surni or क्या बोलते हैं इसको? जो नाक से चढ़ाते हैं. अरे नशा करते हैं तुम कौन?
Snacks.
ये तो अंग्रेजी में है स्मैक, ये हिंदी में भी होता.
चरस गांजा ये आयुर्वेद के औषधियाँ देते हैं हम नाक से सूंघने के लिए, वोमिट वगैरह कराने.
सूंघनी, right?
ये ब्राउन होता है वो लिक्विड.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is something which you take through the ears. You take, generally in Ayurveda they don't give medicine through the ear, they give through the nose and mouth and massaging, but ear, only the ear drops. But this is a medicine which you take through the ears. So that's actually good. Because when you take something through the nose in Ayurveda, it's not so comfortable. Right? That nasya. But no problem if you put some drops in the ear. Right? If you put drops in the eyes, that is also painful. But ear is no problem. And it's quite pleasurable to the ears. So therefore it says Shrotra Manobhiramat. And then from the ears it goes to the mind. And there you feel even more happy. So therefore don't be afraid of medicine. People have samskara of not taking medicine because it is not so relishable. So therefore he is informing us that don't be scared of this medicine. You can take it. Because even those who are not sick, they also take it. Right? So if they are taking it, then it must be good to taste. So therefore it says Shrotra Manobhiramat. So only people who are Pashugna, those who kill animals, they don't like it. So Swarga Sukhabhilashi Karmi. So who is Pashugna? Those who are doing yajna and sacrificing animals so that they can go to Swarga. So they are not interested in it. And then there are other type of people who are also sacrificing animals but not doing yajna. They are only eating them. So these people, at least at the time of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that's the meaning which he gives. So now we have an extended meaning. So those who kill animals and just eat them, so he says they are not interested in hearing about Krishna. Why they are not interesting? Because if they become interested in this, they have to stop that. Right? If they are doing yajna, then they become interested in hearing this, then yajna will stop. But they are too much attached to that. So therefore they don't put attention to this. So therefore he says that only they are not interested. So in other words, if you want to be interested in Krishna Katha, then you should not be cruel to animals. Whether doing in the form of yajna, or for eating, or for others hunting. Some people don't even eat, they just go and hunt. So that's even so terrible. So karmi tasmad vina saiva virajyeta nanya. So only such a person does not take interest in it, otherwise everyone else takes interest. So that means there are 4 types of people. There are Pashugnas, animal killers. There are people who are conditioned, bound by the material world. And then there are mumukshus and there are muktas. And beyond that, of course, are bhaktas. So yaduktam traivargikaste purusha vimukha harimedasa kathayam. So it was said earlier by Kapil Dev that these people who are traivargika, who are interested only in dharma, artha and kama, so they are not interested in bhakti. They are not interested in hari-katha. Yadva, he gives an alternative meaning. Atra vaktri shrotror ubhyoreva ananda ityaya nivrittati. So alternative sense is that he is saying that this Krishna Katha is so nice, so relishable, that it gives pleasure to both to the speaker as well as to the audience. So therefore Sukadeva Goswami has not to think that he has to do some labor or perform this work which is not so pleasurable. So he will also relish it, and of course the audience will relish it. So he knows this, but just to remind him. So Nivritta Tarsai Uttamaha Shlokasya Gunanam Anuvadat Guror Mukhad Akarne Pashad Anukirtanat Kapuman Vaktaha Virajyete. So he says that which speaker would not speak about the stories of Krishna after hearing it from the mouth of one's Guru. So Anuvada or singing, Upagiyamana. So singing is done by first hearing. You have to first hear And then you can sing, but that hearing should be done from the mouth of Guru, not just yourself, because then you may not speak properly. So Guru Mukhad Akaranya, first hear from the mouth of the Guru, Paschad Anukirtanat, and then afterwards you do Kirtan, means you recite it. So who will not do this? He says there is nobody like that. Nakopi yato nivritta tarshair upgiyamanat Krishnasya guna nam anukirtanam api upsarvadhikyena giyate. So those who do not have any desire, who are completely free from desire, even they sing it. What to speak of others? And upgiyaman means that take special interest in it, more than anything else. People are always talking something, right? Speaking. Giyaman is not just singing, but talking, speaking. So upgiyaman means more than anything else. किम पुनस्तेषाम् आस्वादनमिति भवादृशो वक्ता तेषाम् आस्वादकोऽपि इति भाव. And then what to speak of their relishing it. So bhavadrisha vaktaha tesam aswadako. And you are a special speaker and also the taster of this. Atra vartman prayogad adhikya vachako upshabdopanyasascha nivrittatar shabdena shuddha bhakta eva vyakhya tu jnani. So earlier Nivritta Tarsa, he gave the meaning as Gyanis, those who are free from any desires. Now he says that actually Nivritta Tarsa is speaking about the pure devotees who have no other desire except desire to do service to Krishna. Because why Gyanis are going to take interest in it? Gyanis will meditate Neti Neti, I am Atma Brahma. So they are not so much keen on Krishna's pastimes. So therefore he says Nivritta Tarsha refers to Shuddha Bhaktas, pure devotees. So Vartman Priyogat Adhikya Vachako Upshabda Upanyasach. So he's using the Vartman present tense upgiyamana, and upa is in the sense of more than anything else. So that is, says, can be possible only for the devotees. Tesham nididhyasanasya shashvatika stutir drishtahe natu anukirtanasya. He says that Gyanis, they are more interested in nididhyasana, meditation, and not so much in kirtan. They are always praising meditation only. Tathaiva gunanuvadam prapya ka khalu madrisha sansarika shrota virajit. So when this type of gunanuvad, or this recitation of Krishna's qualities, pastimes, guna is lakshanik of other things also, not just qualities but everything else, it's indicative of that. So he says that a person like me who is bound here in the samsara, how is that we will not take interest in this if great devotees are interested in this? Yato bhavasadat. Why? Because this is the perfect medicine for our disease of bound to the material world. Dvayoreva viraga bhave hetu shrotra mano bhiramat. And why is that we will not be not interested in it? Viraga, abhava. Viraga means not interested. Free from raga, and abhava means lack of. So why we would not have the lack of interest in this? Double negation. Says because it is shrotra manobhiramat. What is materialistic people looking after? They want manoranjan, right? Pleasure for their mind, because ultimately whatever sense you utilize for attaining pleasure, it comes to the mind. And this is giving you pleasure and does not cost anything. And it is unlimited. If you take pleasure by anything else, then there is a limitation. How much you can eat, how much you can sing or smell or other things. But there is no limitation for this because you are taking it through the ears. Ears don't get tired. Right? Even eyes get tired. When you sleep, only ears can hear. So therefore, it is giving pleasure to both of them. Shrotra manobhiramat. So there is no reason that even those people who are sansaric, who are materialistic, that they will not take interest in it. Kathanchid dhanadika kamnaya yadi karmi vakta shrota va syat tada sa virajyate vaityah pashugnan. But if somebody has the desire for wealth, power, position, some other material things like heaven, and such a karmi is the speaker. The speaker is also materialistic type of speaker. Then he will speak if he gets money. Right? If you give me this much money, then I will do the katha. If you don't pay me, then I don't take interest in it. Right? They're professional speakers. So if you invite them, you have to pay them. So he says they will stop. But the other vakta, he will continue speaking, he will speak. And similarly, shrota, sometimes you get audience, you pay them. Right? Politicians do that. भीड़ जमाने के लिए करते हैं ना. So if they get more money, they will go there. Or if you don't pay them, they will leave. So only such people would stop from hearing or will not take interest. So they are all called pasugnas. So pasugna here is indicative of doing violence to others for your own benefit. Basically, that's what it means. So pashu also means human beings, right? Like Pashupati is Lord Shiva. So there pashu does not mean animal. Pashu means living being. Pashyati iti pashu. Pashyaka, in the Upanishad word comes pashyaka. So pashu is also means living beings. And gna, anti iti gna. So one who kills, whether that killing is physically or mentally exploiting. So such people would not be interested. Otherwise everyone else would take interest. So therefore he is indirectly saying that everybody should listen to these stories because nobody would say I am a pasugna. Right? Once he has said this, now nobody will say, well, I don't want to hear this katha. Because if you say that, then you become a pashugna. Right? So nobody wants that tag. So therefore everybody would say, yes, I also want to hear. See, this is the trick. Right? If you would have said everybody should listen to this, then you must say, well, no, I'm not interested. So instead of saying that, he says only a Pasuguna is not interested. Only a Hinsaka, a violent person, is not interested. So that nobody likes to be labeled as. So therefore everybody will say, yes, I want to hear. So this is Parikshit's intelligence. So now he speaks about Krishna, because Parikshit also has a special relationship with Krishna. Krishna is the one who protected him, as he will mention here now, and he is the one who got him out and made him hear Bhagavatam. Otherwise he will be still ruling. But he forced him to give up his kingdom on the pretext of being cursed by Shringi. So sometimes curse is a blessing. Right? So he's having a cough. So, being cursed is not considered as a blessing, right? But in his case it is a blessing, because he is the first audience. So these days also when they do Bhagavat Saptaha in India, so there is a speaker, and then there is always one Parikshit, right? There is a main audience, he is designated as Parikshit. Just like the speaker is called Vyasa, because he is sitting on the Vyasasana. But then there is a Parikshit also. Other people are sitting, but there is a main audience. So Parikshit is the first one to hear this from Sukadeva. So this great fortune came by grace of Krishna. So he is realizing this, and therefore he speaks. Pitamaha me samare maranjaihi devyavratadyadi rathaistimingalaihi duratyam kaurava sanya sagaram कृत्वावतरन् वत्सपदं स्मयत्प्लवः द्रोण्यस्त्र विप्लुष्टमिदं मदङ्गं सन्तानबीजं कुरु पाण्डवानां जुगोपकुक्षिं गतयात्तचक्रो मातुश्च मे शरणं गतायः वीर्याणि तस्याखिलदेहभाजा मन्तर्बहिर्पुरुषकालरूपैः प्रयच्छतो मृत्युमुतामृतं च Maya manushasya vadasya vidvan. So he is saying that please Maya manushasya vadasya vidvan. That, O learned Sukdev, he please describes to us about the activities of Maya Manushya, who is manifest here on earth by his grace, and then rest is describing some of the activities of Krishna. Maya Manusya here is an adjective of Krishna, that he is the same person by whose grace my grandfathers, they crossed over the great ocean of battle, or great ocean of the army, which had in it big fish, Timingala. So Timangila Gilopi Asti. So Timi is considered as a big fish, like a whale. And then there is a Timingila who can eat whale. So he says that in this ocean of battle, there were big Timingilas, such as Bhisma, Devavratadi, who could not be conquered even by the Amaras, the Devas. Even the Devas could not conquer Devrata. So Samare Amaran Jayai, they could conquer over these Amaras, Devas. Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Ashwathama, Karna. So these were all invincible heroes on the opposite side. So to conquer over them, even one of them was unconquerable. But all of them together, and then to fight with them and conquer, he says this is only by the grace of Krishna. So he says they were able to cross over Kaurava Sanya Sagaram, this ocean of the army of the Kauravas, which was Duratyaya, which was impossible to cross over, was crossed by them just like one would cross the water in the hoof print of a cow. Vatspadam Sme Plava Yat Plava. Why? Because they made the feet of Krishna, taking shelter of Krishna's feet, that was their boat. So Yat Pada Pallava Plavam Punyasho Hare Murare Samashrito Yat Pada Pallava Plavam. So this is what they did. So Kritva Ataran Vatsapadam Yat Plava. So making the feet of Krishna, or taking shelter of Krishna, that being their very boat or ship, they easily crossed over. Just like, what is the difficulty in crossing over the water in the hoof print of a cow? You don't have to make any effort. So like that they crossed over Kaurava Sanya Sagar, the ocean of the army of the Kauravas, which has, and it is not that this is an ocean, but there are big dangerous animals wandering in it. That small boat, if whale comes, it can give one kick to the boat. So Devrata, etc. were there. And then he speaks about himself, Dronyastra Viplushtam Idam Madangam Santana Bijam Kuru Pandavana. He says that my bodily limbs, they were all burnt by the weapon of Ashwathama, son of Dronacharya. I, who was the seed of dynasty of the Pandavas and Kauravas both, because from the Kauravas side also nobody survived. So Dronacharya wanted to destroy this, but Krishna came and Jugopa Kukshin Gata Ata Chakra. So he entered into the womb of my mother Uttara and protected me while holding a chakra in his hand. Matusyameya Sharanam Gataya. And also protected my mother Uttara, who had taken his shelter. And Viryani Tasya Akhila Deha Bhaja Antar Bahi Purusha Kala Rupai Prayachato Mrityu Mutam Ritanjaya Maya Manushasya Vadasya. So he says that please describe to us the exploits of that person who is giving death and liberation to all the living beings by being inside and outside in the form of Purusha and Kala. So Purusha Kala Rupai. So he is Paramatma inside everybody and outside his time, and is giving both. To some only the death is coming, and those who take to bhakti, he is giving them moksha. So mrityu amritam, mrityu muta amritam cha. So both are coming from him. So he is Kala also, Kalasmi, Lokshaya Krit Praviddha, and he is also Abhayacharana. So mrityu apati yasmat. So nashte loke dviparardhavasane. So mrityu vyala bhita palayan. Sarvan lokan nirbhivnadhya gachat. Tvad padabjam prapya dhrichadya. Mrityu shaite nirbhayad. Mrityu asmadapati. So living being wanders here and there, but there is no freedom from fear. You can go anywhere like Durvasa Muni. So his Kala Chakra, Sudarshan Chakra is the Kala Chakra, was chasing him. So wherever you go, the Kala Chakra is there, the death is there. But once we take shelter of Krishna, then it stops. So then you can sleep fearlessly. So therefore he says that he is both Mrityu and he is Amrita. So please describe his Viryani, Maya Manushasya Viryani Vadasva Vidwan. So these three slokas go together. And commentary now. Matkul devatattvena api Krishnasya katha mam shrotavya iti ashena. So he says that not only that Krishna has come in Yadu dynasty and I want to hear more about it, but he says that he is also the Devata of my family. He is our Kula Devata. He is our family deity. And therefore I want to know about him. So then he speaks about his grandfather. Amaran Jayanti Te. So Amaran Jai, people like Bhishma, they are Amar Jaya, means they conquer over devas. Devrata Bhishma, Devrata is Bhishma. Timingala Tulle Durattayam, and they are like Timingala, that can swallow anything. Duratyam Dusparam. Duratyam means that it is difficult to cross over. Vats Padamiva Kritva Ataram. But they crossed it just like one would cross the hoof print of a cow. Yato Yaha Sri Krishna Eva Plavo Yesham Te Yam Samashrita. Why? Because Krishna is their boat. So they took his shelter. Tatha hi samashritaye pad pallavapalam punyasho harer murare. And it is said that those who take shelter of Krishna's feet, then for them it is easy to cross. Bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam 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 vidnamna tesham. So then this Bhavam Buddhi, this ocean of material world becomes Vatsapadam, like a small puddle of water. No problem to cross. So Tasya Viryani Vadashva iti Tritena. So this sloka, there is only one verb. So it is called Kulaka. When two or more slokas make one sentence, so they all have to be read together. Madek rakshakatvena pi tatkatha avashya shrotavya. Then in the verse number 6 he gives another reason, that moreover he is also my protector. So therefore I want to hear about him. Dronyastrena viplushtam dagdham. I was completely burnt by the weapon of Dronacharya's son. Idamiti tarjanya svavaksham sprishati. So when he is speaking like this and saying my limbs, my bodily parts were burnt by Dronacharya, so he is saying idam madangam, that my this body. So he is referring finger to his chest. Look, this, my body was burnt. So he is the Pramana himself. Atta Chakras Chakradhari. So he says that here it is said Atta Chakra, that he was having chakra in his hand, but actually in the first canto it is described that he protected him, Krishna protected him by his club. So Astra Teja Swagadya Niharamiva Gopati, that he dispelled this Brahmastra with his club, just like when the sun comes and the darkness is dispelled. Gopati Niharamiva. So here, why is he saying Atta Chakra and not Atta Gada? So he says he was also having chakra. And he, Atta Chakra does not mean that he used chakra to dispel it, but he is holding, he is a chakradhari, right? Because he is the one who is putting everybody into chakra. Right? That's why he is chakradhari. Everybody's life he is rotating. Yantrani, yantrarodhani, maya. Bhamayan sarva yantrani. He is rotating everybody, right? That's why he is chakradhari. So he says the chakra he had in his hand, but he used the club. That was enough. So iti pratmokte gadaya eva jugope. So according to the first canto statement, it is only by the club that he protected. Chakaran maturangam cha jugope. And by the word cha also, he also protected my mother. Sarvagati pradatvena pi shrotavyani ityaha viryani. Then the third reason he gives is that he is the one who gives all types of destinations, which means death, moksha, bhakti, everything. He is in charge of all that. So that's why it is also important to hear about him. Swakhil deha bhaja madhye ye antranga bhakta ye cha bahir bahiranga bhakta drohina tebhyo amritam mrityum cha prayachhatas tasya viryani vadasvaitiyana. So among all living beings, among all embodied beings, those who are his devotees, antranga bhaktas, and those who are bahiranga, who are hateful of devotees, so he gives them to Amrita, deathlessness and death respectively. So please describe his valor, his character, his exploits. Tatra antrangebhyo vasudevadibhya purushrupais chaturbhuja dvibhuja purushakarai amritam paramanandam. So now he is saying that here the Purusha and Kala, these two words which are used. So he says Purusha refers to the Purusha Rupa in the form of human beings. And he appears in the form of human beings for his internal devotees like Vasudeva, etc. That's how he explains. So Dvibhuj Purushakari, he appears in 400 human form or 200 human form and gives them Amrita. So Amrita here is not just immortality but Paramanandam, supreme bliss. Because if you drink Amrita you get happiness. On the other hand, there are people like Kamsa. So Bahirangebhya, Kansadibhya, Kala Rupai. For them he appears as Kala. right? Kaloyamiti vivala, Srimad Bhagavatam. Mrityur Bhojapate is called the death of the Bhojapati, and Ityadi Yukte. So, Bhayad Kansa. Kansa was always fearful. He saw him as death. Mrityur Bhojapate Virad Vidusham. Famous verse. So, Ityadi Yuktritya Matsandika Khandai Pitta Dushita Rasnaya Tikta Rasairiva Sakshan Hari-kathvene Bhatai Mrityumut Anantaram Amritam Moksham Cha Prechitaiti Vartman Samipya Vartman. So he says that just as when somebody's tongue is impure because of the jaundice, then if you give them sugar candy, then it tastes bitter to them. But if they continue eating it, then they start tasting it sweet. So similarly, people like Kamsa, they saw him as death, but then they keep on thinking of him, death, death, death. Then he came, he killed them and he liberated them also. So he gave them both Mrityu Amritam cha. He gave them death and also immortality. So it's not that he gives Mrityu to one and Amrita to one, he says to them also he gives. So he gives Amrita to everybody. So Vartman Samipya Vartman Vatvam. So this Prechita, while giving, is used in present tense, but he is not described yet. So he says present is also used in something which is going to happen in future or which just happened in the past. In close proximity of present also we use. So if you are going somewhere, after some time you say I go or I come. So I go means I will go, like that. Kimma Lilaya Nityatva Gyapnartham Vartman Prayoga. Or Vartman is also used in the sense that his Leela pastimes are eternal. So present tense is also used to things which happen regularly. Like you say, sun rises in the east, Ganga flows from Himalayas to the ocean. So here using present tense means it's happening all the time. Maya Swarupena Manusyasya. So Maya Manusya means by his Swarupa he is Manusya. Swarup Bhutya Nitya Shaktya Maya Khyayata Ato Maya Mayam Vishnu Pravadanti Manishna iti Madhva Bhash Pramanit Srute. This is a statement found in the commentary of Madhvacharya and Vedanta Sutra that Maya is also called Swarupa Bhuta Shakti. So Maya means by his Swarupa he is Manusya. Therefore Vishnu is called Maya Maya. So that is his commentary and we'll stop here. Okay, anybody has any question?
When he says that one should hear Krishna's pastimes from the mouth of the Guru, then obviously it rules out any professional speaker. But is it limited in a strict sense of Guru, like one
Guru means teacher.
Teacher, just general. But he says it so that professional people who are these people are not included in Guru. Like
Well, those who are doing, he already said that those dhan kamana, those interested in making money, then.
But everybody else who's teaching would be most of the Guru.
Yes. So this Guru, it's good that you remind me this, because yesterday Sandeep was asking this question that Bhishma disobeyed his Guru. So why is that? So we have to understand in the case of Bhishma, although we talk about Parsuram being his Guru and all that, first of all, Guru we think is a spiritual master as we think of Guru now. That's not true. Just like you learn music from somebody and then you call him as your Guru. So Bhishma only learned the martial art, shooting arrows from him, and that maybe for a short time. It's not that he learned only from him, because I don't know when he learned. It's not clear to me, because Parshuram actually didn't want to teach to any Kshatriya. Remember, that's why he refused to teach to Karna. So when did he learn it from him? Maybe before he started attacking the Kshatriyas. So it's something to be researched. And that does not mean that he learned it only from him, because according to Mahabharata, when Ganga Devi brought Bhishma to Shantanu, when Bhishma was born and Ganga Devi went to drop her into the river, and Shantanu said, "Stop." Then she said, "Okay, and now I leave you," because that was the condition. So then she said, "Okay, I will take the boy with me because it will be difficult for you, and when he is young, then I will bring him back." So Bhishma was brought back when he was about 16 years old. And he was at that time already an expert shooter. But that's how Shantanu saw him. He was standing there shooting arrows, and he said, "Who is this young boy?" And then Ganga appeared and said, "I was doing tapasya somewhere, and it is Amba who approached, and then he came." So we should not compare it with like now disobeying your guru as we think at present. It's not in that sense. Besides the fact that he was asking to do him something wrong. I mean, Bhishma, if he marries, what will happen to the whole thing that his father was married to Satyavati because he said he will not marry. And then he will not sit on the throne. So now this whole thing falls apart. So he cannot do that now. So we have to consider, because the word guru is not always spiritual master as we think. Guru is also some senior person, somebody here in India. Guru also, rickshawala is a guru, or guru, chalo guru. Chai wala is also guru. And guru is also used for the gundas, you know. Yeah. You say, वो तो बहुत बड़ा गुरु है. He's a big guru. Means he's a big mafia. Because they also have gurus of them.
Yes.
Right? उनका भी गुरु होता है.
जो भी बोलेंगे उनका बात काटेंगे. जिससे हम यहाँ पर गुरु को खुश करने के लिए प्रयास करते हैं. In the same way, they also try to please them.
So they have like, just like this big guy who got now killed in encounter, this Dubai. He was also guru for all these people who died for him. They will actually, I'm sure they were calling him guru. Okay, anything else?
Babaji Maharaj?
Ah,
Okay, so I think earlier this mic was not, there was some problem.
now no problem.
Now it is, I think, clear. So basically, I had two small questions. First, you were saying there's guru. So sometimes even in this mafia circle, they call guru Gantal. Who chief like this Daud and all. So anyway, my question was that normally our experience is that in the age of 3 or 4 years, whatever happened in our life, we don't even have any remembrance. But when Parikshit ji is saying that within the womb he saw Krishna, and so was he having awareness? Like we don't even have awareness till 3-4 years, and he's talking about within the womb. So is it some special power?
Yes. Special power. Just like Abhimanyu was also remembering how to break the Chakravyuha. Or Prahlad also remembered what instruction he got from Narada Rishi. So some people have, like Sukadeva Goswami was speaking. He says, I don't want to come out. Right? We read that. So he was even speaking. What to speak of remembering? How did he speak? So obviously he is not speaking with the tongue, he was communicating some way. He can speak from inside. First of all, the sound will not come out. It's soundproof. So there are different ways of communicating. It's like I read that they have done experiments that even trees can communicate. So obviously they are not communicating by speaking as we speak, but if they communicate, that means they speak in a way. So elephants also communicate. So this is a different way of communicating. That famous person who was protecting these elephants was in love with elephants. Maybe you have seen that movie or video. When he died, then elephants from all over, I think this was in South Africa, they walked some 30-40 miles and they reached his home. They did not know his home. And how did they know that he died? They came walking, came to his home, stayed there and then went back. Because he was protecting elephants. Again, he was against cruelty to elephants. There's a YouTube video about it. So that means there is some other ways of communication also.
Also there are different range of frequencies. So
Yeah.
everyone can't listen to.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, second question was regarding in the fourth shloka which you started with. There it was discussed that even for materialistic persons, this Krishna Katha is auspicious. Not exactly, in the sense it's good. They also are interested in listening to it. Then even pure devotees are also interested in listening. So except for Pashuganath, everyone is interested in listening. But then the point is, everyone's interest level is different. Like what would be the difference between a pure devotee and a normal person?
Yeah, of course, everybody's level is different. Just like if you eat food, then different people relish it according to their hunger, right? If you are very hungry, even the same person will relish it differently depending on the intensity of the hunger. So similarly, devotees are obviously more relishing more than anyone else because they have more hunger for it than anyone else. So that will vary according to the mood of the audience. Okay. Yes.
Is about that. I don't know if I understood properly that you said that it's Krishna that is deciding all type of destination.
Yeah, if you perform karma, then who is giving you the result of karma? You can get result by yourself. Krishna says, karmanyeva adhikarastu manafalestu kadachana. So he is the one who meets out the result of your karma.